think the advice to pivot around business drivers is a very cogent conclusion to reach, because the other big challenge for CIOs of all industries and all verticals is articulating to the business why they deserve an investment that's this big instead of that big to get this project achieved. Is that another place where we can help these people out?
And it's pretty much the reason Mike and I came to advisory board. Is advisory board has the CEO audience and COO audience and CFO audience, and has had for years. So what we're able to do with the services we're offering is tie the research agendas together so that what the CEOs are being told is consistent with what we're telling the CIO.
Get the chorus singing in harmony.
Absolutely. You have to do that, because a CIO wears two hats. One of the hats is they're a member of the senior executive team, and they're providing business, and trying to align IT and the business initiatives, right? The other hat is they run the most complex organization in the hospital.
With the most complex process.
Correct. So that's what Applications and Technologies Collaborative is for this hat over here, where I'm running the most complex organization. IT Strategy Council is for here's how we align what we're doing in the way of IT from a business perspective.
Well, without sounding as if I've drunk the Kool-Aid too deeply, it sounds to me as if any CIO who ventured into this new era without advice and information of the kind you can give is really, it's a triumph of optimism over experience.
There may be some CIOs that can pull this off without some help.
But why? But what does that prove to go through that painful experience?
Yeah, and some have more resources than others. But we spend 100% of our time looking at this stuff. We don't run a data center. And we don't.
You're not distracted by
senior management meetings.
Yes, exactly. Not that they're wasted.
Unless you've been a CEO, which I have been, and yes, they are.
But I think that's one of the key differentiators of our service also, because what we try to do is give short 2 to 3 page research notes to people. We push them out to them via the internet so that they can review those, because CIOs have so much on their plate. They don't have time to sit down and read a lot of minutia. So we're trying to abstract that to the highest levels to give them good guidance and direction, and even action plans of what they need to do or be aware of as these new technologies, or there's changes in the vendor world or application world, so that they're very aware of that. They can react very quickly.
At least at a high level, there's almost a template, because obviously there's a lot of legislative constraint here as to what the road has the lines painted on it. What advice would you give to a CIO who's now obviously in the midst of all this, has to make some decisions, and it's coming at him at 150, maybe 300 miles an hour? That seems really fast when you're sitting in the driver's seat.
Beyond self-medication?
That'd be really tempting.
Well, I think, Dave and I look at this all the time. We've never seen a precedent like this before in healthcare IT. There's just so many things coming down the pike. And so CIOs are going to have to be very good about delegating and having very good teams surrounding them to be successful in this area. So it's not going to be a CIO being successful. It's going to be the entire IT team being successful as we go through this, or you're not going to survive.
Well, and it's the CIO's got to be able to communicate to the rest of the members of the executive team who's accountable for the success of the implementation of an EMR, for example. It's not the CIO. The CIO can provide the technology. The CIO can't get people to actually use the system. The people that have to be held accountable for the success are the business owners of this. So the COO, the CEO, the CFO.
Well, a great example of what he's talking about is, when you talk about ICD-10, people either want to make it a health information management project, and those are the coders, those are people who code the advanced, or they want to make it an IT project because all the systems have to be upgraded. And it's really an enterprise project that the CFO should head up, because as Dave said, when those AR days are at risk, that's the accountable executive that's got to be put in place.
It sounds obvious in retrospect, and for those of us who sort of survived Y2K and the ERP onslaught and realized that when the ERPs were considered an IT project, they never really had a happy ending, that the businesses would have learned that by now. But we know that isn't true. It's very tempting, and there are still CIOs who feel that loss of control is criteria for failure, whereas probably the exact opposite is the case.
Yeah. The really good CIOs that I know are the ones that delegate like mad and delegate up, you know, and delegate sideways, and know what they can do and what they can't. You know, and they're successful. The ones that say, I'm the chief information officer and I'll control all this, are doomed.
That's right. That's right. They are really an anachronism, in fact.
Yes.
And I'm not sure they can ever marshal the resources when the crunch time comes. If the CEO and the business isn't behind you 100%, it's going to be a lonely place to be.
Luckily for those CIOs, there's lots of jobs.
Everyone changed chairs.
Musical chairs.
Hopefully they learn from the past experience to be successful in next one.
I'm sure they will. We've never not in the past, right? Well, I want to thank both of you, Dave, Mike, for your insightful comments, and actually for the holding that aspirin out there, that when things start to get tense, there are some solutions to make the ride easier. And it's certainly an exciting future. It sounds like it's almost unlimited possibilities as we look forward.
It's a great business to be in.
It's just a question of getting control of it and managing it well, and having the right people around you to make sure that you do the right thing at the moment of truth.
Exactly right.
Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you very much.